Besides these, a few days after that feast, on the 21st day of the month, Artemisius, a certain and prodigious and incredible phenomenon appeared. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable were it not related by those that saw it. So Josephus didn't even see this. This was related to him by other people, just to make that clear. And were not the events that followed of it so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals? For before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about among the clouds and surrounding of cities. So crazy event. Apparently there was chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor seen running around in the clouds. But again, does any of this sound remotely Jesus returning at all, for that matter? No. And we're going to go into why. So after that, book 6, which I was in, goes on for 5 more chapters. And then there's an entire book 7 with 11 chapters. And none of it resembles a rapture. And Josephus was a master at chronology, specifically of the Jews. Why wouldn't he wrote any of that down? Let me guess. The devil did it. It just doesn't hold up. And now to get back into that pale rider, we were talking about the seals. So that 4th horseman called death, and that last piece, beasts of the earth. And we know that Therion is beast, and we know of the earth is Tesges, Tesges, and in the Greek Septuagint, it's gigantus, and that points to the Nephilim. Well, we also know in Matthew 24:37, which I've repeated a lot in the series, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. So where are the Nephilim in this? Where are the hybrids? Where's the craziness? There's nothing. But you may say, well, Josephus didn't believe in giants, which would be a terrible argument because if he saw them, he would have believed then, right? But did Josephus ever talk about giants? He actually did in Antiquities of the Jews, his other book. And he wrote many times about giants. For many angels, this notion that the fallen angels were in some sense the fathers of the old giants was the constant opinion of antiquity. Of God accompanied with women and begot sons that proved unjust and despisers of all that was good on account of the confidence they had in their own strength. For the tradition is that these men did what resembled the acts of those whom the Grecians call giants. That's one time he talks about giants. These kings had laid waste all Syria and overthrown the offspring of the giants. And when they were come over against Sodom, again, he's talking about giants. And I could keep going. He goes on and on and on about giants in Antiquities of the Jews. No Nephilim, no giants. Josephus, who literally writes about giants, doesn't talk about them at all in Wars of the Jews. There's just a little bitty passage about some event that some people he knew saw were happening in the clouds. If this was the event, the return of Jesus, everyone would have saw it. Josephus would have been writing the rest of the book about it. Oh, but the devil covered it up.